Hi guys, we're going to talk about setting up a weekly program in Snowline. Weekly as opposed to drop-in, weekly where you set up a lesson with students and instructors, and then that lesson is basically the same thing happens week after week, as opposed to a drop-in where you set it up once and it may happen once or twice or whatever, but it's not weekly. So again, there's a pairing of students and instructors that happens, and on a weekly, if you charge for lessons, you kind of do it once per season, as opposed to drop-ins where you pay typically per lesson. So there's a coordinator's role where the coordinator has to accept the student, they accept the instructor, they do the pairing, and then Snowline helps to manage to make sure that if anything changes in the schedule or if there is an outage in terms of CAD's ability, that Snowline looks after that for you. So a lot of this stuff is covered in other videos, but we're going to look right now at just setting up the actual weekly program so that you can accept students. So I'm logged in as a coordinator in my home club here, and I'm going to set up my weekly program. So that's under Tools, Club Admin, Club Setup, and Programs. So if you've just set your club up initially, then it's probably going to look something like this, where you have a couple of sample programs that are set up for you and the all students. So we're going to take a look at weekly. Now, if you want to make a copy of weekly, like have a second one, you just simply copy it, and there it is. So now we have weekly copy, right? And if I didn't really want that, I can delete it. One thing about deleting is once somebody's registered or once you've used that program for something, you can't delete it anymore. You gotta make it not visible. That's what these are, right? These guys are hidden. So we're going to just take our weekly as it is, and we're going to start making changes to it. So I'm going to open it up, and the first thing I'm going to do is call it weekly program, and I'm going to leave the description. And the information panel, this is available to the students when they go to register, and it looks like this. This is Vancouver Island's program setup, and we're just going to take a look at their just one program and see how they did it. So they have their short name, and then they have the long name. Now the long name is deceptively longer than it shows in here. It goes on, and we're going to have a look. So they put quite a long description in there, and then I want to point out what they did with this more information panel. Okay, let's take a look at one of their students. So here's the program list from a student's perspective, and here they get the long description. So they get the whole thing listed out here, and then the read more part is the more information. So that shows up there. It doesn't necessarily show, it shows if they click read more. Okay, so that's how you use those two fields. Okay, back to our demo club. If you want to include something friendly in the welcome message of the email, then you go ahead and do that. Okay, moving on. I want this to show up on my registration page, so I'm going to make sure that it's not hidden. I want it visible and open for registration based on my dates. We're going to do the dates in a minute. And once a kid registers and I accept them, I do not want them to be able to just unregister just by deselecting it on their application. I can take 12 students, and this is not a camp or a race program, and students can register for this year over year, so I don't need this to make it one and done. Okay, I'm going to use dates that are specific to this program, so I'm not going to check this box. So I want my students to register on November the 1st, and I want my instructors to be able to register on September 1st, okay? Because I want to know how many instructors I'm going to have before, and then I may go back and I may change the total number of students that I accept. And I want all registrations cut off by December 15th. After that, you can't register anymore. First lesson's January the 4th. Nope, January the 5th. and last lesson is in April. Now you can go ahead and change these as the season goes. You can go ahead and fine tune these because we don't know really when it's going to snow, so we don't know when the first lesson is going to be. But we know that we're going to be blacked out over Christmas, so we're not taking. There won't be any lessons on Christmas Day, Boxing Day. Everybody's hungover, New Year's Day, so we're not doing lessons then. And we offer lessons every day of the week, so we're going to leave that checked. And the contact is me. Okay, now what questions do we want our students to answer when they register for this program? And each one of these is a block of information that you can either turn off or on. So what's included in these, if you hover over the all-knowing eye, then it's going to tell you. So we want them to be able to say what snow sport type, and we want them to put in their ability level, like beginner, etc., and the other two boxes of information. We want that, right? So we want this guy on. AM, PM, we're going to ask that in a different way, so I don't want that. This is what I want instead, is a weekday time preference. So I want them to be able to go in and say, when would you prefer, what's the best days for you and to have your lessons? And the AM, PM options we'll look at that below, but I want them to answer those questions, so I want that to be there. And the scheduling remarks is, are there any scheduling remarks like, I'm not going to be around for Easter break? We want that, so I want that one turned on. It's not a schools program, so I don't want that. Yeah, it's not a race team, and we're not letting them pick days. That's for a drop-in program, so we're not doing those. Okay, so we're going to leave these three picked. The time slots, if your time slots are different than this, then you need to go to club settings and change those. But we've got morning and afternoon lessons, and we are offering all three of these. So we're going to leave that. And this is not a drop-in program, so we can leave these blank. We don't want them to pay until we accept. That way we don't have to do refunds for students that we don't accept. If you're charging a fee for the season, then you need to watch the pricing video and set that up, and then come back in here, and because there won't be any set up, you need to come back in here and put in your season price. If you want your coordinator that you set up for this program, or if you have defined a snow sport coordinator for your club, for example, you may have a special Nordic person, and you want them to get an email when people submit an application for this program, then go ahead and check these boxes. It's up to you. You have the option of letting the system cancel lessons and send out alerts for lessons that are not fully subscribed. So if an instructor takes themselves off a lesson and the lesson now only doesn't have enough instructors, then you can let the system send out alerts and then cancel that lesson for you by checking the auto cancel here. I'd say that's probably something you don't want to do right up front. Now, if you have a number of programs and you want them to come out in a specific order when the student looks at them, you want them something other than alphabetic, then you can go ahead and just assign them a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever, and then they're going to display in that order on the student's registration page. And that is all there is to setting up your lessons. If you have any questions, call me and or email me, I guess. I will be happy to help you. Thanks.